good evening, adventurers, and welcome to tonight's episode of Goodberry Cafe, which is the little warm cafe where everyone is welcome to come in and pull up a chair. Tonight, we're serving up a cup of inspiration, so I hope you'll come in and stay a while. My name is Jem, and I'll be your host. Happy Juneteenth, and tonight is our second episode that we had during June, so we're going to also continue celebrating Pride Month. Love is love, and everyone is welcome here. And for anyone who is new, Goodberry Cafe is an interview show where I'll be chatting with guests who have a variety of geeky and nerdy and artistic hobbies and passions about the things that they love, the things that they create, and the communities that they're a part of, and how all of these things affect them and others positively. So this show is a warm, safe, and inviting space where we invite you, our listeners, to learn about these various hobbies and activities and maybe just find and learn about a new adventure for you to try out too. Today we'll be speaking to Dante, aka DaytayCosplay, your friendly neighborhood cosplayer, streamer, and nerd. We're going to talk a little bit about his hobbies and about what it means to be a Black cosplayer and the importance of representation. So before we get started, I did want to shout out and thank Silver King for being our Patreon supporter this month. If you like what you see here, be sure to follow and subscribe, and you can also check out our Patreon. Additionally, we are selling some merch. A portion of our proceeds of any of our merch sales this month will go to GLSCN, which is an American education organization working to end discrimination, harassment, and bullying based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. So, Dante, thank you so much for joining me today. Before we get into the questions, would you mind introducing yourself and telling the viewers a little bit about you?
Hello, everybody. First, thank you for reaching out to me and having me on your show. This is super dope. Um, My name is Dante Finch. I'm 28 years old. I am originally from San Diego, California, hometown. I am a cosplayer, I guess, by the people who've recently met me within the last like 5 or 6 years. I know I've met you, Jim, at a con, many of geeky nerdy events. So this makes this extra special too. But before that, I went to school for dance and performance. So I was a dance major, did some musical theater, did regular theater, dance theater, all around kind of like crafty person. And then a friend invited me to, I live in San Diego, so we have San Diego Comic Con. So I think I went one time a long time ago when I was like 6 or 7, because somebody had an extra ticket and they were like, "You want to go?" And I'm like, "Cool," and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I got a lot of free stickers and I was happy about it. But like as I got older, I think my first like adult con was Fanime, which is one of my favorite cons. I've been cosplaying since 2015. Yeah, 2015. So it's been like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It's been 8 years. Oh my goodness. Actually, it's longer than I thought it was. I've been cosplaying for that many years. Some of those cosplays were a little like rough. But I remember like going to the con once I like spent all like I think a month or two on my costume that of course nobody knew who it was. And was like, wow, everybody like really brought their stuff. It was so great to like see a bunch of people just really get into it, and I like fell in love with it pretty much. Like that's pretty much it as the origin superhero origin story.
So, how did you make that transition from dance into cosplay?
It was completely by accident. It was it was not intentional at all. I had gotten an injury from dance because I was dancing like 40 hours a week. I was doing shows auditions and rehearsals. So the way that it worked is that I would audition for a show when the season started. Once those auditions went by, I would be in rehearsal for the show that's coming up, but I would audition for the next season's things. So once we got to the actual show, I was auditioning for other things. So it was just like that was my schedule. And then I got injured really badly. I cracked a couple bones dancing. Oh yeah, I cracked a couple bones. And plus I was kind of like burnt out. I was like a young dancer and I was just like dancing. And a friend was going to one of our mutual friends, his name is DaytayCosplay, but we know him as Aaron Newbaum. He was going to Fanime the year before 2014 because we went to college together, and he needed Draven. If anybody plays League of Legends, Draven is the character, really boisterous, has those rotating like blade things or whatever. And the person who was supposed to make it for him like dropped out of nowhere, and he was like, hey, do you think you can make this thing for me? And I was like, okay. And he goes, you just need one of these, a lazy Susan, and a thing. And I was like, okay, cool, bet, I'll try it. I did it, whipped it up together in like 2 days, 2 or 3 days. Because I loved like working with my hands, love Legos, love Bionicles, love all kind of things like that. And it came out pretty good. I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but he then was like, oh, so what's your card? Where's your cosplay thing? What's your page? People keep asking me, and I was like, you just asked me to do this like as a favor. So then it would kind of like thrust me into that whole thing. So I had to make a page so people knew where to find me because, anyway. But that's how that started.
And had you made anything like that before being asked to make the prop?
No, I really not ever made anything. No.
So why did he ask you?
I haven't. The thing, I don't know. He was like, yeah, you can do this. And I was like, can I though?
He believed in you.
He believed in me. I really think it. I never asked him though. I don't even know why he asked me, but I'll try to get that information next time. But he trusted me. Well, I think also he saw that I was kind of capable in a way, and he sent like kind of like an outline of like how it's done. But I'm the kind of person that does lots of research anyway, so I spent like 4 or 5 days just like thinking, looking, cutting out pictures, doing a thing, and then just bam, put together. He was not sorry about it. Actually, he was my first patron.
Aww.
For like that was my first accidental commission, I guess. Yeah.
And did you join him on that to go to that con?
I did not.
Oh, so you made the prop.
I made the prop, but I didn't even go to the convention until 2 years later. Or yeah, I met him in like 2012. I didn't end up going to the con until 2015. So I had done a couple of things for him, and yeah, and it was like, I'm gonna go to this thing, and I was like, where are you going? It's like, I'm going to a thing that does the thing, and I was like, didn't really make any sense. I was like, okay, dude, whatever, here, take it. Yeah, so.
And so your first con was Fanime, you said?
Yeah. Fanime.
What were your cosplays?
That's not important.
Oh, everyone starts somewhere.
I know. Oof. Somewhere I did start. I did 3 cosplays. I did Ambitious, right? My first cosplay was, so me and Aaron play Magic the Gathering. If anybody tabletop gamers out there, Magic the Gathering. I played Finax, God of Deception. It's like a god card with a thing. Actually, on the wall, I don't know if you can see it, that's the mask from the first one, and it is atrocious, but I kept it because that's my first cosplay. Yes.
What were the other 2?
Harley Quinn before it got really popular. and I left my I made a big like hammer, and we at that time weren't driving, so we went on a train 12 hours from San Diego to San Jose.
Journey.
Not recommended. I realized that we didn't have enough space, so I made a smaller one and I left it on the train. So I just had a stick. It is terrible. It is terrible. It is terrible. It is probably, and I mean, every cosplay is special, but I was like, oof, it hurt. It really hurt to watch that. And then my third one, nope, that was it. I did two. I did two. Those, now this is a secret. If you guys want to go see those cosplays, they are on my Instagram. You know how when people tag you into things, if you scroll, I think if you scroll down, you'll see me in the dealer's hall in like this, yeah, you'll see it. Go and scroll. Go scroll and like.
So what made you, after, it seems like you had fun your first con, even with all the things that went wrong.
Yeah. I was helping my friends do their costumes. So I had like by this time, I think I was, my friend Aaron was like my go-to patron of people that I was making things for. And I had another friend who wanted to do Catwoman. And I did all of that too. So I was just there. Everybody there was kind of like my models, and I was just like doing things. Yeah, that was oof.
What made you want to go back? What was that thing?
Okay. It's gonna sound weird. I mean, it wasn't a competitive thing, but it was a like, I saw everybody else's cosplays and how great they were and how nice they were and how like thought out, and like you can tell that they really like brought the characters to life. And it just like lit me on fire. And I was like, I remember telling myself I will always have a fire cosplay from this day on, because I saw how much effort that the people put into their cosplays. So it wasn't like I'm gonna be the better cosplay than everybody, but it was just so much. You can tell how much they put into it, and I think I resonated with that. And they had so much fun being those characters, and it was everywhere. It was first experience. I was just like, this is amazing. Met so many new people. I got inspired, basically. It just like seeing it in real life in front of my face really like ignited that part in me of like creativity, because I think at the time I only thought that like dance was my life at the time. I'm actually supposed to be, according to my life plan of early college life plan, I'm supposed to be on tour with Beyonce right now. But things are different. I was supposed to be on tour with Janet Jackson, Beyonce, doing the Super Bowl. But I am a cosplayer, so that is, where we're going with that. Yeah.
And what's your favorite part about cosplaying? Is it the crafting? Is it the photos?
It's the planning.
You're such a Virgo. You're such a Virgo.
When I tell you, it is literally the hours of pulling reference pictures and being on Pinterest. That is when it comes to like well, you probably might ask me that about my process later, but if I had to put a timeline together, if I had like 2 weeks to make something, a week and a half of that is literally just planning. Because I'm like, I gotta get it absorbed into my brain, and I have like this vision and I see it, and it like becomes real to me in the inside. That sounds so like weird, but that's how I like understand it. And I just like munch on it and like mill it around, and then once it's settled in my brain, I'm like, I got it. and I just like, bam, I put it together.
And that's your favorite part. I feel like that's a lot of people's least favorite part.
I know people like, I love the end products. I love. It's kind of weird. I kind of care less that it's done, which is really weird. But the fact that I like when I hold it up and I like look back at it and I'm like, okay, yes, we did that. It's the idea of being able to like take this 2D thing, plan it, and then see it come to fruition. It's that like that process is really what like it's like being a scientist. It's like I hear scientists talk about like how they enjoy the process of figuring things out. It's that process. It's the process of like making it make sense. You know, kind of weird, but very much my favorite. My favorite thing actually with my cosplays could be if I had to make a list of what's my favorite and least thing. Wearing them out in public actually is my least favorite thing.
Why?
It's my least favorite thing because uh uh contrary to popular belief, I am very shy. Or not shy, I'm actually very self-conscious. So I have a lot of ability, but I have to kind of like psych myself up to be out in public where people are like staring at me and like ultimately judging me, whether it be, because you just don't know what they're thinking. And I'm just like, I can't take that. So I have to like pull from the strength of my friends to like be out there with the cosplay on, you know?
So you say your friends help you go
Oh,
out?
because I don't tell them anything, but they just like, well, like, okay, we're going out. And I'm like, okay, as long as I'm walking out with other people, I might not look weird. But I was like, but you do because you're dressed like a vile plume. So you might as well get over. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's,
So that's that.
if you had to sum it up, because you've been cosplaying for like 8 years now, you said, what would you say cosplay means to you?
Oh man. Um. Well, I think it kind of meant to me what dance meant to me. It actually helped me to understand a little bit more about myself in the way of I thought that dance was the only thing that I was good at. So that's why I did it so heavily. And it was really kind of my world. And if I wasn't dancing, then I really didn't have a lot of value. I know that sounds kind of like extreme, but I don't have a
Really,
lot
it's
of
not.
because of I'm not very I wasn't super smart in school. I got bullied. I wasn't super cool. I was kind of awkward. I was really tall. I didn't want to be tall. I was like lots of different things that happened in my life, and I found dance and I was like, bam, this is it. I'm excelling at it. People are giving me praise for it. um I was getting validation for it because I was just happened to be very good at it, and that was that. But I once I couldn't dance because of my injury or because I had to do that, I was kind of lost for a little bit. And like I said, like with having my friend, he's asking me to do these things, and I found that thing again. I had realized that I'm in love with creating and not necessarily dance, because creating dance allows you to do that because you have your body, you have movement, and you can create anything you want. And that whole process of making and doing is the same process as getting materials and putting them together. It's just a different thing. So it helped me to like find my love in that way, and also helps me to understand the world around me, because people who cosplay, we watch anime, we watch shows and movies and all these things, and we pick characters to do, sometimes because they're cool, but I mean, for a lot of people that I know, we pick them because we resonate with them in a certain way. um they make us feel powerful. They have something that we wish we had, or we're trying to work up on, or we're trying to embody, because this is something that I excel at. This is something that brings out this thing in me. I want to look pretty. I want to look strong. I want to look sultry. I want to have that this character represents something for me and for the people who cosplay. And sometimes you just do it because it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's fucking dope. I want to do this. You know.
Mhm.
But like, I'll choose a character that makes me feel stronger. And that's where the little bit of the nervousness comes out when I want to go out into the public with it, because it's like, wow, I don't necessarily have that aspect, but I chose this character because it makes me feel strong, and I can embody that when I have this on. So in a way, it kind of like a transfusion of those things for yourself. I know that's super deep for just putting on a costume, but it is like that. I mean, people do it every day with their clothes. This makes me feel comfortable. This makes me feel this, you know? I might not have it yet, or I might be lacking in this area in my own mind or in my own feelings, but this character, bam. Like, I'll pick like Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy's natural. She's pretty. She's beautiful. She's strong. She also has like she feels the way she feels about things, and nobody can stop her. I've cosplayed. I love gender bend cosplays. I like taking female characters and doing them in a male way, because I mean, the character is the character. You know, they take you to that different place. And I was like, I feel strong. I feel natural. I feel gorgeous. Like, you know, Poison Ivy is never talking about, oh, this one feather, this one like little petal is not the shape that I want it. You know what I mean? It's like everything that I have is beautiful, and it is what it is, and nothing else is going to impede that beauty. That aspect of that character is what like I resonate with, and what I need to like make myself feel that way. You know what I mean?
I love that.
If that makes any sense at all.
It looks like it's resonating with a lot of people in chat as well, and it resonates with me personally. Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah. So you said Poison Ivy. Can you tell us any other characters that you felt you've cosplayed or that you want to cosplay that resonate with you in that way?
Let's go through the list of cosplays. I pick a lot of characters that I wouldn't say have issues, but I pick a lot of characters that aren't necessarily this one archetype of like, you know, I picked Superboy. Like, people pick Superman, and of course he has the character has an internal struggle with, you know, the power that he has, and what his responsibility with that is. But Superboy, because there's more than one. Superboy, the Project Cadmus Superboy, he is a clone of Lex Luthor, and he has the DNA of Lex Luthor and Superman. So his internal struggle is different. You know, people had a purpose for him to do one thing, and now that he understands that he has a choice, even though he has the propensity to be either one, and like trying to cut that course for himself, like that's something that resonates with me. You know, do I have to do this? Is this what, you know, has been chosen for me? This is what, you know, this looks like. I mean, I'm supposed to be angry, and I have all this power, but, you know, why? You know, those questions like that. Sometimes I just choose characters because they're hot. I'll be like, oh, I don't feel as attractive, or I don't feel as, you know, lovely looking. I'll put it like that. So I will pick a character that is that, because, you know, sometimes it's hard to pull from something you don't have a what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody says be courageous, and I was like, I don't have nothing to pull to be courageous, but I know what courageous looks like. So even though I don't feel it, I can try to act it out, which starts to give it like a little bit of a seed in you. That way you can grow courageousness, whatever that looks like. You know, I can grow a little bit of sensualness. I can grow a little bit of power, resolve. And I love villains. Love villains because it's never just the idea that things are just black and white is just if you're a fool if you think that, because these characters don't just wake up and decide. Now, some of them do, but most of them don't. And they're educated. Like everybody in Arkham Asylum got a degree.
Yep.
It also shows you that, like, just because of your education, your money, your whatever, these are still people. If you look at their story, these are still people, and things that happen will take you all kinds of different directions. And because they have stood for something, and people are like, well, they're like, well, I'm choosing to be heard, period. And I'm gonna look like a bad person because you don't want to listen. So does that make me bad, or does that not make me bad? Those kind of things, because it's ambiguous. Like going back to Poison Ivy, before she was like, hey, I'm trying to make this thing, I'm trying to save the environment. Y'all are not listening to me. Well, I'm gonna make you listen. Also, I went a little insane doing it, but like it's never just one day I just woke up, I'm just gonna fuck everything up. So I love those stories. It's like, we love a arc. We love
yes. I love a complex villain. Like
yes. That's why I like Batman. Mm-hmm. I mean, we like him for some reasons, but he can be a little bit of a brat, but whatever. A little bit of ain't gonna point that out too much.
So other than the Arkham villains, who would you say is your favorite villain?
That's hard. Mm-hmm. There's so many villains out there that I like. Probably. Ooh, I'm looking at my Funko Pops so I can like get an idea. Contrary to popular belief, I like Hisoka for other reasons. Before I'm attacked, I would have to narrow it down to Hisoka, Orochimaru, and Lord Shishomaru. Okay, those are what I said. I'm gonna stand by it.
I love it. So when it comes to gender bent cosplays, how are you coming up with designs for their outfits? Because they're totally new designs, right? You're gender bending them yourself, or are you going off of artistic inspiration? Or
yes and no. So you gotta like take in consideration the whole thing. Like when you look at the character, like Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman, and she's significant because she is a woman, and she comes from like that, embodying that whole thing, the Amazonians, all that stuff. So when I look at that, I'm like, cool. So it's not going to be exactly the same for sure, but I mean, and you can if you want. That's also an option. You take it to the physical aspects, because men don't have certain parts like a chest, like breasts. So the shape of the costume might be a little different, but what other armor or things that she has on that are in that have already been done. So like a Spartan type outfit, they kind of look the same with the like the Roman skirts. They kind of have that same design in that way. So I've seen some people do like a Roman outfit, but in the way of like Wonder Woman, the colors. So you take color, you take shape, form, and just accessories too. So I take all that into consideration to like bring that same essence of the character to that, because that's the point of doing it if you're not gonna get the character. And it's not necessarily making it specifically the same spot on, because like I said, anatomical features, but it's the essence of like that character. When I see that, I want to feel Wonder Woman. I want to feel,
essence, yeah.
I want to feel Wonder Woman. I feel it in my face.
And what's your favorite cosplay that you've done so far?
Not fair.
Okay, you can list a couple, like top.
Top 3. I will limit myself to top 3. Aquaman. My third time doing Aquaman, because I actually don't ever do cosplays twice. Yes.
Is that a rule for yourself?
It is a rule. I don't know why it's a rule, but I just never do a cosplay over again. I wear a cosplay to a con and I never wear it again. So, don't know why. But I did Aquaman a couple of times, but they all were 3 different costumes. I would say the third rendition of the costume was pretty great. Yeah, I liked that one. Recently, I did Bruno Bucciardi from JoJo Bizarre Adventure, and my third one would be, it'd have to be it'd have to be Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy, yeah, have to be Poison Ivy. There's a bunch on there. Storm. I have a Storm cosplay that I did. That was really cool. Anime Expo 2016, I think. 2016? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That was about right.
And what's been your most complex cosplay to make?
All of them, dude. Well, granted that every cosplay that I've done, those are like the first time that I've done anything like it. So every time I do one, it's like a new concept. My most complex one would be, it might have to be Rhino. I did a Rhino. I did a Rhino cosplay like 2017 at Stanley's Comic-Con. It was actually the one right before he died. R.I.P. Stanley Excelsior. I did a Rhino cosplay it was right when the new Spider-Man game came out. The Amazing Spider-Man game came out. That was it was the first time I did a whole body thing, and I was just like, why? Why did I do this to myself?
I thought you were gonna say the Chocobo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a super complex seeming cosplay.
I forgot about the Chocobo, but okay, so I have this thing. I made the Chocobo in 4 days.
That's amazing.
I made that 4 days. When I say 4 days, before the con.
Okay, tell people about the Chocobo.
Okay, so I have this thing where sometimes I go into this blind fury of cosplaying, and I'll put 10 cosplays that I want to do, and I have to narrow it down by the time I get to the con. That is the process. And my really, really good friend, Aaron, is I was like, what if I do a Chocobo? He goes, like a real one? Like a small one? Like a baby? Like a little puppet? And he goes, and I'm like, nah, like a Chocobo. He's like, I don't think that's possible. You can't tell me that. That's my main thing now. So when I'm feeling like I can't get something done, I'll be like, what if I do this thing that sounds outlandish? I'm like, I don't think that's possible. Yeah, exactly. That's what I needed to hear. And then I get it done. The Chocobo it was trying to do this thing with my hands. It was a puppet. So I did the front part of the Chocobo. So if you think about a bird, it had its body right here. And then you have the butt part of the bird. And then you have the legs. And then you have the whole head and the thing. And there's a stick out the back. So I was looking at different musical theater and theater techniques. Like if anybody's ever seen Lion King on Broadway, they have a lot of puppets, like actual physical animal puppets. And I went down a really deep rabbit hole with that one. So I painted it all in like 4 days, and that was that. It was about six. I'm kind of tall, so the body kind of was in my midsection, and then the head went all the way up to about like it's like 6'2" for reference, 6'2". Yeah. So that was actually not that complex for me.
It looked complex. What was it made out of?
Foam. At that time, I didn't actually get like the actual good foam mats.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Walmart. That was in my Walmart days, in my super glue days, before I knew what contact cement was. And I got the exercise mats that came in like they were like 2 foot by 2 foot, and I had to make the whole thing out of that. Yes, before I knew what varying thicknesses was. Yeah.
So how has your foam smithing skills improved since then?
Well, I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but Rudy toot toot. Compared to like where I was, I feel like I've made a big leap. And where I was not able to do some of the stuff that I am now, which I'm super grateful that I was able to like learn it and like pick it up. But it was definitely a learning curve. I would say that. No, go ahead.
How did you learn to improve? What did you use?
I stopped using hot glue. One of the things that I stopped doing was using hot glue on foam to try to, I mean, it works sometimes, but it's not a viable way to get things done in certain times. I did what I always do. I made a Pinterest list. I Pinterested it, and then I made a YouTube list of things, and I just like would get online and just watch people do things. Because they would explain them, but I like to see what they're doing. Also a skill that I got from dance, because a lot of that is watching somebody do something on their body, which is different than yours, and having to transpose that onto you. So I would literally just watch them do things, and you learn the process of like, get the image, make a pattern, cut it out, make sure the lines meet up, glue it together, then seal it, then paint it, then so you have the big frame of things going, and then you go into more interesting and intricate things about how to make things. We talk about creatures or props, as in like weapons or like things that you actually wear. And then I got into sewing. My mom bought me a sewing machine. She bought my first sewing machine. She saw how much effort I put into that first cosplay, Finax, and all the hot gluing I did. And she was like, I got an early Christmas present for you. And she bought me a sewing machine that I still have. And then she just recently, last Christmas, bought me a serger. They're machines. Also is the one that makes my business cards.
Aww.
One of my biggest supporters. She keeps me from quitting every day. There are times where I am like, I don't really. Maybe I should do something more practical. Maybe I should, do something else. Get a real job, you bum. And then she's like, just keep it, just keep doing it. You don't have to do it mainly, but I know what she's doing. She's like kind of trying to get me over that hump until it makes more sense to me. And then I'm like, I got it, I'm good, we're here. And she's like, okay, cool. Like I said before. Yeah. So I had actually made her. I was like, hey, I need a couple of business cards for. I went to Neotropolis. We went to Neotropolis. Very fun. And I asked her to make me like a couple of business cards.
Aww.
This is not a couple of business cards. She wrote DaytayCosplay's business cards on the front. She gave me a whole box of 200. as a few. And
Oh, that's so sweet.
she goes, "Well, you never know." And I'm like, yeah. So
I would love to loop back to Neotropolis later on in our conversation. So tabling that for now, but I do want to ask what your favorite crafting thing is. Like, is it, I'm not thinking of the right word. Is it foam or sewing and like making clothes or
my favorite
warbler? I don't know.
meal to with, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, Recently I kind of fell in love with a little bit of fabric because I was able to sew my first full garment thing for Fanime. I did Guillaume, and I did his like robe. So great. I was very proud of myself. I think I do like foam. I've only worked with Warbler a couple of times, and that is really fun to work with, but it is really expensive. And it is very expensive. It is very expensive. But if I could work with Warbler a little bit more, I think I would. Um, it's foam, fabric, Warbler, foam clay, and then everything else.
Mhm. Have you gotten a chance to play around with the 3D printer?
That was not supposed to be an evil face. Actually, I do have a 3D printer, and it's amazing.
Game
3D
changer.
are like godsends. Now, they didn't tell you how much you have to play with them for them to work, but they are super cool. I would not on my Bruno Bucciardi cosplay. I printed out his zippers, the big fat zippers. I printed those out. Super great. So while I'm working, it's working, and when I'm not working, it's working. So that's what I, I love about those.
So, when I was inviting you on the show, I asked you what were some of the things you wanted to talk about. So, you mentioned you wanted to talk about what it means to be a Black cosplayer. So, I'm going to turn that question over to you. What does being a Black cosplayer mean to you?
Uh, I'm gonna try to narrow that down. I think it really. I mean, we know like representation means a lot. Um, so going back to that first time going to the con, I was really to be there, and I was cosplaying, and I was doing all those things, and at the same time, because two things can be true simultaneously. I also still felt like a novelty because there weren't a lot of so there's so we have POC cosplayers, and there are a lot of POC cosplayers because as much as people don't want to recognize that POC people include our Asian community. So there are a lot of POC cosplayers as a group. Yes, they're full of them. We have a lot of different cosplayers that are there, but we don't have a lot of Black cosplayers. Um, Also, that has to speak to our community personally, with all the things and the history. Um, Doing things like this is also viewed as weird because of how history has gone. Um, if that makes sense, there's a lot of things behind that. And it's also a privilege. It's also like extracurricular. It's not something that is like, oh, you want to go do this? For sure, try that out. Um, if I would not have done, even me dancing was very like off to the side when it comes to like the Black community at large. We do it for fun, but also like practical. Like Black people are kind of like put into this box of like service jobs, entertainment jobs, and football or sports things, and that speaks to the history of the country. We won't get into that, but you already know. Pick up a book, if you don't. Um, so being a Black face in a everywhere else place, it's you stick out for good and bad reasons. So that means that certain cosplays I can't do. But people don't think about that because I can't cosplay something that have guns because that then puts me in danger. I have to think about all of those things. I have to think about how threatening I would look at something like that. I have to think about how realistic I look when it comes to that character. Because if I've done Red Hood, I don't think I would do Red Hood at a con because Red Hood has guns. And as much as that's a cool thing, my black skin also is a target. That sounds, I know it sounds kind of like that doesn't sound right, but it is a reality for me. So sometimes I don't really get mad for people who don't understand it, but it is a reality. It's a reality for most black people. Also, um, the if I can be real, if that's okay,
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
you would think that a community that at some point was marginalized, because let's be real, nobody was saying that watching anime and superheroes and all that stuff was cool. It wasn't cool. 20 years ago, it wasn't cool. The 90s, it was not cool. Our generation, are now the consumer generation. So we have put our money into those things, and now it's mainstream because everybody now says it's okay for that. It's okay for that to do. We movies, um, TV shows, whatever, they've now put it out to the regular, so now it's normal and it's okay. And I'm not weird. 5 years ago, I had to explain what cosplay was. I had to explain what Comic Con was. I had to explain all of those things. So um, you would think a marginalized group would understand another marginalized group, but I'm marginalized inside the marginalized group. Um, I can't be the character. I have to be the black version of the character. I'm not accepted. And people are like, well, people love you, Dante. People who know me, because I do know a good amount of people. And I have been, that's why I have to focus on that. I talk about the essence of the character. Like, a lot of people don't exist. A lot of black people don't get to exist as the character because they are always pulled out of it by everybody else. So they're then othered again. So it's like, I want to do Aquaman because this, and the other, right? Then you go out to do that thing that I talked about earlier, to grow that seed, and then somebody comes over there and stomps on it because they're like, oh, who are you supposed to be? Clearly, I look like Aquaman, but that's another thing. And oh, you're the black Aquaman, or you're the black Wonder Woman, or you're the black Mario, or you're the black version of something, when I can't just be the thing. So then now what that does to me mentally and emotionally is that even though you came out here looking like this, you're still not that. And it doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Devalues what you've done. Because as much as you are here and you've done it and you've spent all the hours, you still could never be it. That's what you're saying without saying it. So it just like all that 40 hours of work doesn't matter. So when I go out and I do a competition and they introduce somebody as the black version of something, that's one, embarrassing. Two, has broken whatever atmosphere that we've created, and also just is fucking racist and prejudice. And people don't think that, because people think that racism is overt, as in, I hate those kind of people. I'm gonna burn crosses on your thing. I'm gonna try to hang you from a tree. I'm going to deny you jobs. I'm going to deny you education. But it also looks like having preconceived notions about people you don't understand, calling somebody the black version of something and not enjoying or respecting their space inside of the convention just like you. It looks it has many faces. And they have the iceberg thing. The iceberg that's above the water is what we see overtly. It's out in the open, it's loud, it's I hate you. We can see that. That's almost easier to deal with. You know what I mean? But the bottom of the iceberg, things that have been like learned, things that are normal in our society that hasn't been called out, um, things that the way you say something, how you say it, who you say it to, um, all those things are not taken into consideration. So then, in the same breath, when I respond in a way that is not pleasant, then I again am villainized and demonized because now again I'm the angry black person, and they're always like this, and which affirms those things that are not that are have been said and learned in media and things like that. It just affirms those things silently, quietly. It just gives it a little bit of a yep, I knew it was like that. So when somebody else comes and says this black person or this person of color or whatever, they're like this and they did this, now you have a frame. The word I was looking for was frame of reference. You will go instantly go back to the time where I was like, don't say that to me. And it's negative because you don't understand, and it affirms that other negative thing in your head. People don't think about those things. Those are the things that build all of that. It's deep.
Yeah.
It's deep. It's deep.
Have you seen any change, or in the time that you've been cosplaying, have you seen it any change in the community or?
Yes, I think recently there's been. I think the pandemic did a number of things. It required people to really take stock, and it was like it was terrible and horrible for sure, but it also revealed a lot about who you were as an individual and who we are as a whole. The world and our country and our community and our family and our friend groups, because you cannot tell me that people at the beginning of the pandemic, now at this point, things are not the same. It required people to choose sides. It required people to no longer be Switzerland about things. And a lot of reason why a lot of this stuff was able to just be there and grow is because everybody just chose not to participate or didn't have to choose a side. But now you have to. You are either for me or you are against me. And that sounds really aggressive and mean, and but for some of us it is a life or death situation. So I need to know if you are for me or against me. You know, it's serious and it's deep, but these are the conversations that you know we have to have. I mean, I'm willing to have them now, realizing that it's not everybody's responsibility to be that teacher to you, because if you can sit in your house for two years basically and learn macrame and how to make soap, you can pull up a book about the history of the country and about why it's not okay for you to say you're pretty for a black person. You know what I mean? So get with it. Because me, as much as I love people and I enjoy people, and I will have the conversation with you because that's how I feel that I can do it. I love talking to people, and I know I have a lot of people and a lot of friends that didn't know very much, and they reached out to me because they trusted me and they wanted to know. And we had those conversations, and it was difficult and it was uncomfortable, but we had them, and they learned and they grew. You know? So get with it.
Yeah. But you're right, though. At the end of the day, it's not your job to do that emotional labor for other people.
I'm already black in America. That's a lot of labor right there.
In your eyes, how can the cosplay community do better in regards to Black creators?
Um, One, stop stealing stuff. uh, that was a dig for sure. I know people are probably going to be upset about that, but ask me if I care. uh, no, I think that really checking, because yeah, really checking where and why you're doing something. If we're doing a show, if we're doing because people now are our generation, and within the last couple of years, people have been, starting up and doing their own thing because we've realized that working for other people ain't it. You know what I mean? We're doing it now with this. You know what I mean? So, and it's really amazing to see, but really look at your demographic and look at your reasoning why. Am I looking? Did you invite me? I'm going to use you as an example if this is okay. Did you invite me on your show because you needed people? Did you invite me on your show because I'm a cosplayer that you respect and you saw my things and you wanted to know and you're interested in what I'm doing? Or you trying to meet a quota, which is a real thing. You're trying to meet a quota. Are you have to check why you're doing it. And me as a Black person and you knowing me, doesn't mean that you don't see color. Also, people don't say that. Don't say you don't see color because then you're inherently ignoring the part of me that is a part of me. Um, you invited me to the show because you see color and you want to hear my perspective and you see that this is here, but also this has nothing to do with my work ethic, has nothing to do with the things that I produce, but it does give a lens and a perspective that everybody needs to hear. And that's how you do it. You choose and you do and you make moves and you work with people so you can get a fuller perspective of what we're doing, whatever that may be. And question yourself all the time. Question those beliefs, question those, the reasoning why behind it. Did I do that because I feel like that, or did I do this because that's how I feel? It's just a little stock, and you don't have to like crucify yourself. Don't do that. Be yourself, be cool, but also take stock. I do it all the time. There are things that I've learned that are not healthy as a person, as a Black person, it's just not healthy. So I have to ask myself, did I do that because that's how I really actually feel? Or did I do that because it's a habit? Or where do those beliefs come from? You know what I mean? And if they hold up, then they hold up. But if they don't hold up, then you might want to like reassess. People get really hurt because I'm challenging your belief system. And also, if me asking you a question shakes your belief, then you have to figure out what's wrong with your belief system. Because if I believe it with my whole heart, then nothing can really shake that. You know what I mean? But also, opening myself up to a perspective that is broader is also very important for us to get further in life as a group and a community. I know we got a lot of weebs and a lot of nerds, and social interaction is not on our highest priority, but it is our time, so we have to figure out how to do those things. Those are the things that is essential. We have to do the work. I'm not saying you can't have a good time. I'm not saying that every day you have to be the agent of change, but you got to be doing something. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do something. Sometimes you got an opportunity. All right, cool, bet. Let's do it. Let's work together. Let's try it. That's what I would say would help the most.
Yeah. We can all do better, I think.
Right.
Yeah. I think part of that also, to tack on my own thought to that is I think calling out the things that we see, like when we see somebody being called like the Black version of a cosplay, like calling that out, like not being quiet about it.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea of say something, open your mouth. But people are, it's like, it's hard. It's difficult to be an ally because the thing is, I'm in this fight all the time. And I call it a fight because it requires a lot of energy and people get hurt, especially me. So I have to always be on guard. And it means so much to me when I don't have to fight, when I don't have to engage, when somebody else says, hey, that wasn't actually really cool. But it does, I'm gonna set the expectation, because you know people say you want to be an ally, you want to help, you want to do this, but when you, and this is across the board, when you take on somebody as a friend, as a whatever, you're taking them on and everything that they're doing on. Your reputations are now entwined. So if you're gonna go to bat for me, better believe that they're coming for you. You know, they are. It sounds like a scary thing, but you are now aligned with me, and everything, and all my enemies, air quotes, are your enemies. The people who don't like me, the people who think that this thing is this thing, feel that way about me and now about you, because you are a person that is aligned with me. You know people who are not nice, and if you see people who hang out with them, you assume that they're not nice.
Yep.
At work. And if they are a nice person, you wonder, well, how come that nice person's hanging out with that person and they ain't said nothing to them? Well, he's not mean to me, so it doesn't matter. You know, I think that, I mean, it also is very important to be, and now this is not everybody's, lot in life, but the way to be a friend is to be there to get them through that. I've had some friends who have not been the greatest of people. So my responsibility, because I'm willing and I have the ability, is to call them out and say, you're being crappy. And every time they are being crappy, you call them out on being crappy. If that's your friend, then it's your responsibility to have them be the best version of themselves, and then vice versa. So that means calling out behavior that is hindering them as a person to grow, to be better, to know better, to do better, and them for you. And yes, they're going to be upset at you. Yes, there's going to be conflict. Everybody is afraid of conflict. Well, when I live in this skin, conflict is brought to me without my choice. That's why I'm a good conflict resolution person. Because, I'm not saying that I'm not scared. I'm scared a lot of the times, but I got to deal with it. You got to, courage happens in the moment where you're terrified and you don't know how it's going to go, but you got to go forward anyway. You got to push, you got to press forward, you got to make your way through, and it's great to do that with people who are going to be there for you,
Sure.
Yeah.
Just underlining, holding your friends accountable is important, and also being open to being held accountable yourself. That's part of, we're all growing, and that's part of growing together.
It sucks. Like, let's be real. It's not going to be fun. It's not super fun all the time. It requires you to say that I have a flaw, and I'm not all the way right, and I'm not that great, in a world where we have to pump our own self up. I know where it comes from, the idea of, like, even the way that we've been taught in schools is that, like, if you do anything less than this, you're wrong. They don't teach you in school that if you're wrong, it's okay, but this is how we become right. There is no school, and there's no really thing happening where you were taught in school, if you were wrong, you were just wrong, and that's bad. But think about if you was like, oh, no, that's not right. And it's okay that you're not right, because now this is how we go from here to here. There's no processes for that people learned as our generation. You know what I mean? Like, we were just wrong, and you were just wrong. So people try to not be wrong ever, because being wrong is inherently bad. And if you're bad, that means you're defective. And if you're defective, you're less valuable. And if you're less valuable, you're worthless. And if you're worthless, you ain't worth it, and you're thrown away. And that is what people are afraid of. It's a fear of being cut out, because that's what happens when you're wrong, or when you're bad, or when you're different, or when there's no space for you, and then we have these communities that are the births of those people. And then you have you have the con community, the community like that. And then you have Black people who come into the community thinking like, well, y'all get it. And then again, we have to be like, I have to make an affinity. Why do I have to make an affinity space in another group that was in another affinity space, technically, because nerd stuff and weeb stuff and gamer stuff, it's more mainstream, but it was an affinity group before it was anything. And now I have to go into an affinity group to make another affinity group. We literally love the same thing. I watched all 600 episodes of Naruto. that should be the only, like, you know what I mean? Like, now put in your chops, put in your time for sure, do your thing. But I think the requirement to be accepted is if you're gonna watch all 5 arcs of Hunter x Hunter, I feel like that's enough. I'm just saying. I met the requirement.
Oh, I love it. Love Hunter x Hunter.
I love it. You're so good. I watched it like 3 times.
Wow. Okay. Well, I want to rewatch. I need to rewatch it, but that ant arc.
I cried. I cried.
I just want to thank you for being so real with me and so authentic with me. I just really appreciate that.
Sure. Always, forever. Especially with you. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows our relationship, but like you're like one of the first people I met. And within that year, when I first started like going to stuff and doing stuff, I met you after Anime Los Angeles in the same year that I did and you've always been, always and forever have been real with me and have never treated me any different. So I just want to say that I appreciate you in front of all these people. If you didn't know that we was friends and we was homies, now you know. So watch your mouth.
I do want to make sure we talk about some of the other cool stuff you're doing, though, before we run out of time today. One of my favorite things that I've seen you jump into head first is body painting. Can we talk a little bit about body painting?
Yes.
How did that start? How did you jump into that?
It was an accident. I'm not lying to you. It was not like, I'm going to start body painting now. It was an accident. I wanted to do cosplay stuff and I had no money. I'm going to be real. I did not have a lot of money. Actually, I didn't have any money at the time. And I was looking for a job. And I think it was during the pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic. And, it was the shitstorm, basically. And I was like, man, I want to cosplay. I have all these ideas. I just have made my 48 different Pinterest lists for the characters that I wanted to do. Spent a whole 2 weeks on it, and I still have it. I'm so proud of myself. And I said, well, I guess I'll just paint it as like a tester thing. I was still trying to not, put on some content out there, and I was still trying to be active with what I was doing. And I thought I would just paint it and see how the character would look. So in the future, when I actually made those characters come to life, I would see how it would look, So my Bruno Bucciardi cosplay is actually a body paint. It's one of those cosplays that I was like, I'm going to do this as a real life physical cosplay and not a body paint. So that was kind of like a way for me to keep doing it. And come to find out, I'm pretty good. Which is a surprise to me because I did not know it was going to turn out like that. I'm not even lying to you. It's out of necessity, I guess.
And when you first started trying the body painting, did you watch YouTube videos or did you just jump right in?
I just did it. I did this. I said,
Natural.
Okay, what am I going to do? I looked at it, and then I looked at myself, and I looked at it again, and then I looked at it myself. Actually, the first one I did was Greed. I did Greed from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I was doing like the half, when he has the little metal thing going on his face. If you watch, you'll know. You know if you know. And I was in black, and it was in summer, and I was sweating, and I was using Miron plug for Miron body water activated body paint, and it was like starting to drip and melt, and I was like, yeah. And then I took pictures of it, and I was like, fine, whatever, and I just posted it, and it was pretty good. Came out pretty good. I was like, all right, cool. And I kept doing it. And then I went on to some other ones. You had asked me earlier what my favorite cosplay was, and I didn't include any of my body paints. Because for some reason they're separate in my mind. My favorite one is my Iceman from X-Men. It took me like 3 hours to do. They all take me about no less than 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. Yeesh.
Dang.
Yeah.
So what Pinterest boards are you making now? What cosplays do you have planned for the rest of the year?
Don't do that. So I'm trying to work off all those other Pinterest things that I have, and I'm getting through them fairly quickly, to be honest. But as the cosplayer, we all know that what you do is you start a cosplay, you don't finish it, and then you do several other cosplays that you finish and still not finish that one. So the one that's in the works right now, that is in my closet, screaming at me to get it done, is I'm also a gamer. I'm also a gamer. I play Apex Legends, so if you want to play, hit me. Seer from Apex Legends. He's a new legend. If you guys play it, you guys know what I'm talking about. He's in the closet. He's ready. We're working up on that one.
What cons are you going to next? Or still to be determined?
The next one for sure I'm going to is Dragon Con.
Ooh.
I will be going there. It's my first out-of-state con. I'm very nervous. It's a big convention, so I don't know what I'm gonna do at that convention. I don't know, but I'm excited. Kind of.
When is that?
September. It's the September 1st to the 5th. And then the 10th is my birthday. Whoop whoop. And then in that month, at the end of that month is Wasteland, which keep your fingers crossed. I put in my application for Wasteland's volunteer to do the body shop. I got some recommendations from doing Neotropolis, so I'm hoping to hear back from them so I can do that. I'll be doing a bunch of tribal things. So if anybody's going to Wasteland and I'm there, please come through.
Yes.
Paint you up.
Yes, I want to talk about your work at Neo. So you mentioned how your dance skills and your musical theater background was transferable to your making the cosplays, but I think that we've now seen with you that your cosplay work has been transferable to other spaces. Would you say that that's right?
I guess so. I in my own head, I am like, and this is something I'm still learning how to get out of my train of thinking, because we're always growing. But I'm always like, oh, it's not that great. Oh, it's so, how I see this. But I gotta be able to. I'm always trying to one up myself. Always trying to get to that ooh, yes, no, that's better. Ooh, this is way better. This is even better. I'm still trying to figure out how my cosplay thing translates over to other things, but it might just be when the idea of costuming now, kind of like cool. When I go out to hang out with the normies, when I hang out with the normies, my style has started to change a little bit too. I'm starting to wear more, say costumey things, but like more cosplay things. People want like, oh, we're doing this themed thing, and I'm like, theme? All right.
Yes.
Hair flip. Oh, it's Halloween. Halloween. I'm doing this themed thing. You gotta come like this, and I'm like, of course I say I have nothing to wear. Grab a bunch of crap and then I like put it on. I'm like, that works. And they're like, you went all out, and I'm like, I didn't. But I didn't. You mere mortals.
Oh, but with Neo, I think that your work, especially with the body painting, translated directly to a different space at Neo. So we
True.
did have Dwayne on here a couple weeks ago to talk about Neo and his experience. So would you like to share a little bit about your experience, your journey with Neotropolis?
It was so great. It was too great. It was too good. With that event and with Fanime that just passed, like I don't leave the house anymore because it was such a like, and this is for me personally. I mean, there were some kinks and we had to like make it, we definitely had to make it happen for sure. But like, it was kind of like revolutionary for me to be around and be in a space where I was just able to be. And it was just so relaxing. And so like, I felt like that's what thriving feels like. You know, I felt so comfortable. I felt um, like that's where I was meant to be. So now with that feeling and how like how the way I was, even the way I was treated, it was like, okay, now I'm taking that and I'm putting that in my way of how I need to be treated. So when I come to other places and other spaces, I'm like, y'all ain't treating me like this. I don't need to be here. Of course, I got to hang out with our group, our people. Goodness. I got closer with a lot of people there, which was really nice. And I'm glad I did it with y'all because I don't know if I would have survived. Desert camping is ridiculous, but also, like I'm living for it now.
I
So
mean,
I'm
Wasteland.
waiting for Wasteland. It's gonna be hot. Not super excited about it being hot, but I'm down. Utopia, I think that's a thing. I can't wait for that. Now, if I can get someone to take me to Burning Man, then I will find my way there. I'm trying to go to Ren Fair. I think I missed it this year, but I'm trying to go to Ren Fair. I'm trying to go to all the immersive themed everything's. It was everything that I need for it to be, like, and more.
Yeah. Oh, you're with the right people.
Right.
But at Neo, unlike like my experience, you were actually working the body shop. Is that what they called it there?
They called it New You, NYUY, or something like that. So we had we had some kinks because the space that we were supposed to have got taken, so we were like in this little spot, and we just had to like make it like happen. So we were like doing brushes, and there was a lot of dirt, and I was just like, okay, I'm not working in this like condition with stuff, but that was a really cool experience too, because there were some other really talented people doing like little special effects things, and I learned a good amount of things from people too. Like, oh, I just made this out of this, and you just kind of do this, and bam, and I was like, what? I just learned something.
Can you explain what that was?
Oh, so one of the artists there was doing prosthetics. So she was putting prosthetic like ports or something in the body, something like that, like little like on buttons, off buttons, little like jack ports that you would like plug in, because Neotropolis is cyberpunk themed. So it was kind of that, and she was just explaining me how to use what was the material? It was like it wasn't latex, it was something else. But she was just explaining, like, if you put a little bit of this on here, like I wrote it down. I did write it down. But if you use this little this like a solvent or whatever, it makes it easier to stick on, and it stays on all day. You have to literally rip it off for it to come off. Prozade.
Yeah.
Prozade. Great for desert sticking. Because it was super windy and very cold, because like temperature can affect things. So if things get really hot and really cold, it like wears off adhesives and stuff. So it stayed on all day for a lot of people, and they didn't have to like really take it off. They might came back to get touch-ups and stuff, but I learned a lot about Prozades. I learned how to paint in dirt wind in a sandstorm. So yeah. What else did I learn? I learned we had some hairstylists, had some I was one of the painters. We had, and some people doing makeup, and we just kind of made it happen. And some brushing went on too. I have an airbrush, and I've only used it one time to do my Miles Morales body paint, which is also on my Instagram if you want to see it. I just use that, so I want to get into more of doing some airbrushing, because I know those are gonna be like, it's gonna kind of make things a little bit more easy. But I do enjoy brushes. I really enjoy brushes. Like, it's something about like being in it with it, like the stroke and the brushing and all that stuff. Like, I really like enjoy that. You know, I feel like I can manipulate it a little bit better. And also, if it messes up, it's my fault. So
And you were invited, well, you applied, and then you were invited as a guest artist for that space, right?
For Neotropolis?
Yeah.
So I did do that. I put my application in just thinking that I'm like, hey, like, I'm a little short on cash right now, so I'm just gonna volunteer because I really want to experience something like this. And of course, all of you were going, and I wanted to really be a part of that. And they looked at my work, and I got a phone call, because apparently I think my email went into spam. Check your they're like, Mickey, or aka Mako, super amazing guy to work with, called me up and was like, hey, is this Dante? I was like, yeah, it is. And he goes, yeah, I've been trying to get in contact with you for like a week. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes like, yeah, I saw your stuff, and I really, really, really want you. You're amazing, and we want you. You must. And I was like, taken back. He's like, we will have you there as like a guest artist. Or what did he say? Like, they didn't use the word premiere, because I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but we'll just stick with the word guest artist. And it was a really, like, it treated me really well, and the experience was like amazing. So that recommendation, great recommendation. Of course, I was working with Robert, aka Fractal, because we have different names up there, is also going to be working on the body shop at Wasteland. So I got some recommendations from those guys, and they were like, hey, just put your thing in and just, let's see what we can do. So cross your fingers, send out your prayers and your good energy. Tell the Republicans to send out their thoughts and prayers, because that's what they do. And that will be like one of my next things that I'll be doing. Yeah. And also recently I just let's say booked a gig, but I was just asked to be an artist for it's an exhibit that's happening at the Riverside Art Museum. Yeah, so the project is that they are asking a couple of people to write out what shame, if shame was a physical manifestation, what would it look like on you? Like, how does it present itself? And they just asked a couple of, I think it's 5 people to do that, and I'm gonna receive what they written down, and I'm going to basically take those things and make that into a special effect makeup, and I'm going to put that on them, and then I'm going to photograph those things. Well, I'm not going to do it, but it's going to be photographed, and those pictures will be put up inside of the Riverside Art Museum.
That's awesome.
July 9th. Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Really, that's really great. And they specifically called me and said, hey, like, we thought about you earlier, but we weren't sure how, like, you felt about, because we know you body paint, but we didn't know if you did any special effects. And somebody else was recommended. We're not going to say who or what color they were, but they said specifically we wanted you because you're a Black artist and we wanted to work with you. So, like, those things are really validating for me, you know? It's like, yeah, super Black.
So that's super exciting for you. I can't wait to see how that turns out for you.
I will definitely be posting everything. I'm doing a lot better about posting. Sometimes I'm like, oh, wait, I have to post all these things that I have. So it'll be on one of my socials.
I think that's a good transition point to open it up to any chat questions for Dante. So if you have any questions for Dante about any of his work, definitely write them in the chat. And while we wait for those, I do want to do a couple questions from the dice.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll this dice.
Uh-huh. Huh? I was asking dice. You're going to roll the dice?
Yes, I'm going to roll it and then ask you whatever question corresponds to the number.
Ooh.
Okay. Meanwhile, chat, if you have any questions for Dante, type it away. But your first question from the dice. Ooh. I think that's a 20. A nat 20.
Yes!
If you had to give a presentation with no preparation time, what would be your chosen subject?
Oof. No preparation, and I had to do a presentation.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very interesting. I'd probably have to do something about talking. No. It'd be about. Huh. Okay, it would probably be why Death Note is a garbage anime. Shots fired.
Oh man.
DM me if you have any problems. DM me. That's all I gotta say. Just like, dang, that was hard. No, really. In respects to, and I would use the juxtaposition between that one and why like animes like Neo Genesis Evangelion are masterpieces. You know.
Love it.
You see
Love
how
it.
that? See, I saved myself.
Perfect. And I would love to see that presentation.
I know.
All right. And I'm going to do one more because we are getting some questions from the chat, but I'm going to do one more question from the dice.
All right.
It is a 17, and that.
Ooh.
Who is your default character, the character that you always choose on Super Smash Brothers?
I knew I was okay. Before I answer that question, I knew I was going to get some. I literally just got a text message about why somebody in the chat heard what I said and they DM'd me and said, hating on Death Note? What about the live action? That is. I knew it. I will say I respect the loyalty. It's also still garbage, but you know, that's all I have to say about that. Here, flip. Now, question.
So the question was, what's your Super Smash Brothers character?
My Super Smash Brothers character. Ooh, I really suck at Super Smash Brothers, but I've always had success with Incineroar and it was Incineroar, and I think it was like Pikachu and Bowser. One of those three. Yeah.
Pikachu's on my list.
Yeah. Really not very good at that game. I'm garbage at that game for sure.
You can still have fun playing it though, as long as you're not a super competitive type.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some questions from the chat.
Okay, ready.
What has been your favorite convention or event, and why?
Fanime, for a couple of reasons. One, it's a friendiversary. My friend Aaron, it's our friendiversary. We've gone every year since 2015, except for the 2 years it was canceled for COVID, and we went this year. So that is our hands down friendiversary. Like every year we go, that's our tradition, that's our thing. It's really special to me. That's where I got my inspiration to like do more cosplay. So that is the reason why that is my favorite, all-time favorite. And also it only gets better every year. It hasn't like been misbalanced, because you know you have things with like cosplaying, and you have events, and then you have like you know, maybe some of the like the social things that happen after the con, and sometimes other cons get unbalanced with one more like, you know, more in industry heavy or more event heavy, and it's just very balanced, so you can really enjoy everything and it's not too crazy, you know. More people, but it still seems to keep its balance as a convention, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is there an event that you're looking forward to going to in the future?
Yes. I would like to go to Anime NYC. Yeah, I would like to go there. Or and above that, I would like to go to Blurred Con. Blurred Con. Yes.
We just got raided by Thanks Internet, so thanks for the raid.
Well, thanks for nice.
Love it. Hello, welcome. We are just asking our guests any question and answers at the moment about cosplay or some of his favorite events. So if you have any questions for our guests, jump right in. So another question we have for you is, if money or time was not an issue, what would be your dream cosplay to create or to wear?
My life. Money or time was not an object. I would create. Oh, that's kind of a hard one, because you know I have a lot of things. I'm gonna consult the Pinterest list for this one. You kind of got me. That kind of got me, actually. With all my trillions of ideas. Okay, money time was a thing. I would probably do a Kryptonian cosplay, but because there was an episode where in I think it's in the Superman the animated series, where he went to space and he had this spacesuit on. It was blue. It was the old school one. I think that was the episode that's with Metallo. I would create the Metallo cosplay from that. You guys thought I was gonna say Superman. Gotcha.
No, now knowing what you what you'd like to focus on in cosplay. No.
Right.
Uh-oh. And to the Raiders, I do just want to say thanks for joining us. This talk show is Goodberry Cafe. We talk to guests about their nerdy passions and how it affects them and their communities that they join positively. We also have a Dungeons and Dragons show that is on alternate Monday nights, Forging Fates. So if you're interested in tabletop gaming, come check us out. And we also have a mini painting show on our channel. So thanks for stopping by. Dante, I do have more questions for you though.
Okay, bet. I'm ready. Shoot.
What can we expect from you in the future, and what are you looking forward to the most?
More, more cosplays. I'm looking. I know that sounds really vague, but like I have a lot of ideas. And the space that I'm in right now is kind of small, but I'm putting some things together so I can like really like go ahead and forge some really cool cosplays. Some really more I'm trying to take it back to some like the more obscure characters. Some of the more obscure villains, because I know we have a lot of people who like do some of the more mainstream characters, but I'm really looking forward to bringing some of those older characters back that we like love. Like if you've ever watched the Batman's animated series, Scarecrow is on. I actually have a list of villains that I want to do from each like superhero, and the first slew of villains is from Batman, and it includes Bane. Scarecrow. I've already done Poison Ivy. I will do Cat. Well, she's an anti-hero, but Catwoman, Man Bat, and that's going to be a lot of prosthetics because he's actually like a bat person. And Killer Croc, I believe it's Killer Croc or Dr. Croc, something like that. He's like a half alligator, half person, lives in the sewers, that one. And yes, I'm gonna start doing sets of characters. So that's where I can like, maybe some cosplay music videos, maybe to incorporate some of that dancing things. I want to really do, if I can find some cosplayers who are willing to dance, I would teach them how to do it because I also used to be a dance teacher. So even if they have no experience, I can turn you into a dancer. I want to do some like bring that KDA type thing into real life and have some cosplayers really like do a whole show or a performance or make a music video.
So cool.
That would be really, really great. Yeah, and of course a lot of different like Twitch things. I haven't talked about that, but I'm a streamer now, so lots of Twitch things. Maybe if I can do some body painting on my stream, if you guys are willing to sit for 3 hours and watch me paint my whole front body and turn into a different character, then that would be something you guys might be interested in.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm also intrigued by the dance lessons, as
yes.
I have zero skill, but I am intrigued.
I would love the dance class at a con. I think like one of my ideas was to, you know how people do panels, but for my panel, it would be a little dance combination. I think you can do that. I think you can pretty much make your panel wherever it wants, but it'll be like a cosplay dance class. You know what I mean? Beginner, groovy something to a cool anime opening, or something little like DJ mix of like some nerdy stuff. Been finding some things. I just gotta see if people would be interested in that.
I think they would. I think that would be a hit.
That'd be fun. That would be super fun.
Another question from the chat. Is there anyone you'd like to collaborate with on any projects?
Yes and no. I know that sounds weird. Yes, a couple of them. They are Black content creators. One of them I already have been able to work with. Shout out to an old friend and a very amazing uh, Black female cosplayer, Sunflower Samurai. Um, she's amazing. I've known her actually back when we danced together. But she's an amazing TikTok artist, person, content creator, amazing cosplayer. She is just ridiculous. So she's already on my list. I've gotten to work with her. I do would like to work with. I think it's Cutie Pie Cosplay is one of them. She's pretty great, and uh, Jihatsu. I think it's just Jihatsu on there. Yeah, these are all really great Black cosplayers. Super great, super amazing. And anybody else who's down to want to work with me, I'm very much open to doing that. If we're going to the con, or if you want to do like a costume collab where we can like mesh them together, I'm always open for that too. You know? Yeah.
I got another great question from the chat. What's the best piece of advice you received when you started out? And what piece of advice would you give to new cosplayers or people who want to start out?
I actually didn't get a lot of advice when I started cosplaying. I just kind of did it. And yeah, I didn't really get a lot of like, you should do this as cosplay, but I did hear a lot of like, cosplay what you want. Cosplay what you want. I mean, I know that some of us do cosplay. I guess this goes into like what I would say too. So what I've heard and what I've kind of gathered now.
Oh no. Oh no, we've lost Dante. The gremlins are back with their technical issues. So hopefully we can get Dante back on momentarily. Oh no. Mm-mm.
Hello?
We can hear you.
I'm so sorry. My device conked out on me. It conked out on me. I was using my cellular device and it died, and I didn't notice because it didn't give me any warning. So I'm gonna try this camera and hopefully it turns on. Did it? No. Okay. I hopefully you guys will be okay with the sound of my voice.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Um, here are now the vocal stylings of the faceless one.
We're cursed by gremlins on this channel, I think.
Don't know why. Be gone, you foul beast.
You were saying your advice. I would love to loop back to that.
My advice would be cosplay what you want. It must have been really good advice because the people out here was not trying to have it heard. Cosplay what you want. And if you're gonna cosplay it to your fullest. Cosplay it to your fullest degree. I think that it's worth doing it. If you're gonna do it, do it. Not to say that cosplay is for everyone. Everybody can cosplay. But I think that it also speaks to putting all your effort speaks to like how much value you put into it. Because we all have to learn how to do stuff because cosplaying is still a skill. You know what I mean? You still got to learn to put stuff together and glue and paint and all these things. But I would say if you're gonna go out there and cosplay the hell out of it. Should I just do this one thing? No, don't just do that one thing. Do it and do it to your fullest extent. Because one, you'll be happy, and two, if somebody has something to say about it, it doesn't matter because you put all of yourself into it. You know what I mean? It'll be worth it. It makes it worth it if it's an obscure character, if it's a popular character. If you're not that great with cutting, it's okay to get help. It's okay to buy stuff. Just
Oh no, we lost him again.
this, I'm so done. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
All right. I think your sound is still working.
Yes, it is.
Um,
So
I think it's the gremlins telling us that we're done. So
yeah.
before we go, is there anything you want to plug? Anything? Uh, where can we find you? Where can we follow your work?
Yes. Now the people who haven't seen my face, now you have to go see me. Um, uh, you can find me. You could Google me. Google me if you really can't find anything. If you have no social media and you're just one of those people, it's fine. Google DaytayCosplay. That's DaytayCosplay. All one word. All of my socials will pop up. I am on Twitch. I am currently trying to get to affiliate. I'm very close. So if you guys want to come and hang out with me, right now my schedule is Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. It might change a little bit, but Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is is what I'm doing right now. Usually at 8 o'clock. I think tomorrow I will be streaming a little earlier because I have a prior engagement for that particular Tuesday, but I will be on there Thursday and Friday at 8 o'clock. On a dat. Um, Facebook is also DaytayCosplay. My YouTube, which is where that's another thing that's out there that's there that we're trying to work up on. But there are some clips of some gameplays if you guys are interested in that. At DaytayCosplay TV. DaytayCosplay.tv, yes. And on Instagram, it's also DaytayCosplay. Um, yeah, just Google me. I'll be there.
Do you have a TikTok?
I I do have a TikTok. Oh Lord. I've been meaning to delete it. But there are some things on TikTok that I like. There are some things that I don't like so much because I'm trying to learn this newfangled thing. Uh, I'm working on being better at TikTok, but there are some videos on there if you want to go see them and check them out. Uh, and that's also Daytay Cosplay. Yes.
Wonderful. Uh, well, thank you again, Dante, for joining me. And thank you out there to everyone listening, everyone in the chat for joining in, asking questions. Uh, I hope that you've enjoyed your stay at Goodberry Cafe, and I hope that you'll join us again. We are skipping July 4th, which would be our next episode. Let me just pull up a calendar to see when you can next catch Goodberry Cafe. Next week, you will be able to see Forging Fates, our D&D show, on Monday night, same time, same place. And then the next Goodberry Cafe will be July 18th, a Monday, so same time and same place. So I hope to see you there. And until then, I encourage you to follow and subscribe to our channel, and I hope that you have a very good night.